gamers, and welcome back to the RegentsPlays YouTube channel, where today we're talking all things Battlefield 6. Now, currently we are 2 days out from the early access portion of the BF6 open beta. Of course, if you get a code from watching on Twitch, or if you was previously invited to Battlefield Labs like myself, you will get early access starting on Thursday, 2 days from now, 9 a.m. in the UK. Obviously different depending on where you're living. And then you get to play Thursday and Friday, and then of course the open beta is Saturday and Sunday. I've already pre-downloaded the open beta on my PlayStation 5 and on Steam because I got Battlefield Labs on the PlayStation 5 before, but I'm hoping, because my EA account is connected to my Steam, for the early access starting on Thursday, I'll be able to play on PC. If not, I don't mind playing controller for 2 days and then swapping over to mouse and keyboard, but I'd much prefer to play on PC. But I've not really seen if there's any answers regarding that. But they released a big blog post yesterday, or today, technically. It says August 5th right in front of me. I'll put up screenshots, and I just wanted to talk about Battlefield 6. There's so much content. There's going to be gameplay in the background. Now, this isn't my gameplay. I do want to say it's just clips I've pulled from YouTube. And there's so much gameplay that you can watch after the live event, and people recorded their own personal gameplay and stuff. I have never been this excited for a Battlefield game, at least back at least since Battlefield 4. I mean, Battlefield 4 was the last time that I fully felt excited for a Battlefield title to release. Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, for me personally, I wasn't a big fan of the gunplay in Battlefield 1. I wasn't a fan of the old school settings. I much prefer modern era settings. Battlefield 5, I love the movement, and I've heard that the movement is pretty much copy and pasted over into Battlefield 6, ladies, and it's like they've taken the movement, the crouch sprinting, stuff like that, and plonked it into Battlefield 6, which I think is amazing, because I think Battlefield 5 movement is the best movement we've ever had in a Battlefield title. Laying on your back, crawling around, being able to do the front rolls after diving off slightly higher ledges and whatnot. I think Battlefield 5 movement is absolutely amazing. And then the gunplay looks more like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 times. So it's like a mixture. They've taken everything you love. Hopefully they've just ignored 2042, the ugly duckling, but they've taken everything we love and pumped it all into Battlefield 6. And I've just been watching so much gameplay, and I cannot wait to dive on in. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This channel is going to transform into a Battlefield 6 channel. So if you are a BF6 fan or Battlefield fan in general and you're excited, please do subscribe to this channel if you are ready. Let me know in the comments down below, what is the thing you're most looking forward to, and what is the thing you're most nervous about, or you're most, anxious that they might get wrong or they might mess up, in the comments down below. I think the thing I'm most excited for is just a good old modern BF3, BF4 feeling Battlefield title again. Those two are two of my favorite FPS games of all time. Not just Battlefield, of all time. And the fact that we may potentially get those feelings back, I am very, very, very excited about. The thing I'm nervous about is with the live season, I'm nervous they go too above and beyond. Not above and beyond in a good way, obviously, but they stray away from what they've said. They don't, believe the community. They don't believe in what they say. They start bringing in stupid skins, over-the-top skins like Call of Duty. That is what I'm anxious about. But they have said on record they want to keep it grounded, realistic, BF4 style. So I'm going to trust them, even though with 2042 they lost a lot of trust. But you know what? I feel like we're back. I'm going to trust them, and we'll see what comes of it. From the blog post that they put, you can access this on the Steam store page. It does say, as we prepare for Battlefield 6 early access beta starting on Thursday, August 7th, followed by the open beta on August 9th, we wanted to take a moment to reflect on our journey so far with Battlefield Labs, how we've adapted your feedback, and what you can expect from future play sessions and gameplay iterations as we prepare for launch. We'll take a brief pause with Battlefield Labs during the open beta period. So Battlefield Labs is going to be paused. Battlefield Labs is going to be on the shelf while the open beta is going on. And I think that makes sense. I think that's understandable. They're going to want all the feedback from the community based on the open beta. I mean, this is like the largest, I'm pretty sure, open beta that they've done for a Battlefield game. So I'm hoping, especially with the live event as well, I'm hoping they're going to get a lot of good feedback from the community. And again, I'm hoping they listen to the community, because it's all well and good getting feedback, but if you're not listening to the feedback, well, then the feedback, it doesn't really matter, does it? Once concluded, we'll resume our commitment to feedback and continuous improvement through this program. We're proud of the reception that we have seen with Battlefield Labs, and we'll keep monitoring and acting on players' feedback and data as we continue our development. I think Battlefield Labs was an awesome addition. I think it was absolutely incredible. Again, I got invited to Battlefield Labs for the playtest, and being able to play early, being able to access the game and really give your feedback and you know, make it feel like you're being known and being heard by the developers, I think was an amazing addition. I think Battlefield Labs was a huge success, and again, I'm hoping and happy that they said they're going to bring it back once the open beta is done with. Now, the main thing, Battlefield Labs feedback, changes made for open beta. So already, before the open beta is even started, they've already made changes from the game we played in Battlefield Labs. They've made changes for the open beta, which, again, I think is amazing. The fact that they're keeping on top of changes, the fact that they're keeping on top of the community feedback, I think is fantastic. The main thing, closed vs open weapons. Now, I've done a lot of Battlefield content on this channel, and I've made my thoughts public. My thoughts are that it should be closed weapons. It should be locked to classes. Assault should have assault rifles. You know, whether you do engineer with SMGs, support with LMGs, and then recon with snipers. I think guns should be locked to classes like Battlefield 3, like Battlefield 4. I think that is core Battlefield. I think it's like a cat and mouse of, you know, the class straight away based on what guns they're using, based on how they look. You know what class you are looking at because they are using a specific weapon. It's not like an assault class can have a sniper rifle, or, you know, a recon class can have an LMG. That is not Battlefield. So I'm glad they listened, because at the beginning it wasn't going to be like this. It was going to be like 2042, where weapons were going to be open just for all the classes. But they have listened, and they've changed it slightly. Now, we've recently shared our goal to connect both new and veteran players to the Battlefield experience. There have been ongoing discussions about previous class systems, including interest in reintroducing closed weapons to classes as a playlist option. So they have spoken about it before, where they're going to have two different playlist options. One for closed weapons and one for open weapons, if you just want to be any class with any gun. To support different playstyles, we're developing functionality that allows you to play between closed and open weapon mode, starting with open beta. So it's going to be in the open beta we get to test this. We're starting with a closed weapon conquest playlist in beta. You'll earn full XP progression in this mode, giving you the freedom to play your way. So in the open beta, it is a closed weapon conquest playlist. That is what we're going to be using in the beta. Of course, at launch, there's going to be two different playlists, like I say, with open and closed. Again, I think closed is the way to go. I think locking guns to their classes is the Battlefield experience. But again, I understand where they're coming from. They want new and veteran players. They want to cater to the old school BF3, BS4 fans, but they also want new fans. You know, this was the same company that said they want, what was it, like 100 million concurrent players or something like that crazy with this Battlefield title. So it does make sense that they're trying to cater to everyone. I don't think having two different playlists is necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's going to split the player base too much. I think there's going to be a lot of players on it anyway. So I think, you know, lobbies and servers are still going to be full with two different playlists. Obviously, I think it's a case of they have to look at the statistics. I think it's smart to start with both. If it does sway one way, or like if the full game comes out and the analytics say 99% of players are playing closed lobbies and only, you know, no one's playing the open weapon lobby, or vice versa, if 99% are playing the open weapons and no one's going into the closed lobbies, I think it makes full sense then for Battlefield to say, or for EA to say, okay, this playlist is not getting used, this one is. We're going to go full focus on this because the majority of players want this playlist. Maybe even they push the other one to like a portal mode or something, where like it's more hidden, but it's still in the game for the niche fans that want to do it. But if there's an overwhelming response, obviously if it's like 50-50, 51-49, something like that, then it makes sense. Again, you know, then they said, hey, we brought in both for a reason, and that reason worked because both playlists are equally being played. So then it's a dub on their mind anyway. So I think it's a smart idea to have both and wait for the full game, wait for the analytics to come in and fully see what the community really want. Because I think you're going to get players wanting both experiences, wanting multiple experiences. Maybe they get bored of one, they want to play a different one. So the options are always nice. Maps and modes. We've been closely tracking player behavior and traversal across the different maps played in Battlefield Labs, such as for the below image of Siege of Cairo. Using this another day, we've identified several areas across maps that we've zoned in on and changed to better flow the movement and pace at which players traverse and fight each other. So again, already from Battlefield Labs, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at here. Already from Battlefield Labs, they've got their analytics, they've got their data, and they're already implementing it into the open beta. The game isn't fully out yet, and they're already giving us improvements, which I think is awesome. This is a great graphic, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It really, really is. You can see the map traversal of where most players are moving, which lanes most players are going. You can see this side, majority of players, it's brighter. They go, you know, they start here, they go down here, and they go down this way. This side, they go up top this way, and then they meet in the middle, one coming up, one coming down. So they're going to be putting different obstacles in the way. They're going to be putting different paths in the way to make it so you have more options in your path finding and more options in each map. Again, Battlefield Labs, I think it's such a good name as well. It's Battlefield Labs. It's the lab where you test Battlefield. I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. And the fact that they're already implementing stuff like this, I think is really, really cool and really, really intuitive from EA to, you know, really give us full control as a community over what we want to see in this Battlefield title. Several direct changes have also been made to the layout of objectives, including improved cover, adjusting objective sizes, and tailored designs to support balanced play for both sides. That's the main thing, because on some maps, I remember back in Battlefield 3 days, there was always some maps where you wanted to be on a certain team, on the American team, on the Russian team, whatever, because certain paths were just easier to defend or easier to get flags, or there was, you know, a sniping mountain on one side that you wanted to go to, or an advantage assault path you can take on one side. There was a couple maps in particular where certain sides had the benefit to spawn on. So this way, with Battlefield Labs testing and using these, you know, new equipments and more modern technology, they can really, really fine-tune how maps are played and how movement is played as well, which I think is going to be really, really fun. We've also updated the visual look of objective boundaries and repositioned turrets across the map to further enhance gameplay. Again, little tweaks like that, moving turrets and improving the visual look of objective boundaries. The objective boundaries, I think, looks very cool. It's like a little, you know, red and blue painted line on the floor kind of thing. I think it looks very, very cool. As we move into the next phase of map testing, our focus will shift even more toward refining these objective layouts and iterating based on player feedback. Expect further adjustments as we approach the final stages of development. I still can't believe we're like 2 months away from this game. I can't wait for the beta. It's all I want to play right now, which is why I'm making these videos talking about it. It's all I want to play is Battlefield 6. No other game is hitting right now. I tried to go back and play some Battlefield 4. It was okay, but again, no other game is hitting like I've seen from Battlefield 6. I just want to get back in. We've also loved the fast-paced action of domination, and I've been exploring the best way to bring revives into the mode. So a quick little thing, on Battlefield Labs, there was no revive option in domination. Domination is like the smaller base conquest mode, where you're capturing flags, but just on a smaller scale. You know, think of Call of Duty domination. And there was no revives before, which I found very, very interesting. But it says a core element of Battlefield team play that we think really fits. After seeing positive feedback from players, we're excited to introduce reviving as a new mechanic, adding an extra layer of strategy and teamwork to the experience. So again, it's another case of they've heard the fan base say, hey, even in domination, we want to be able to revive our teammates. It's a crucial part of Battlefield. It's a crucial part of, you know, the support class with the defibrillators and squad play being up to the new. There's a new drag feature. We don't want it not to be in this mode. And they've said, okay, we've heard you. We understand. We agree. Now it's in. So in domination, there will be the revive feature, which again, I think is a smart thing. I don't think it was smart taken out in the first place. But again, they tried something. It didn't work. The community didn't like it. And they reverted, which again, hats off to them. I think it's absolutely amazing. Talking about weapons and time to kill. Now, this is a big talking point on Twitter and on YouTube comments just in general on social media that I've seen. The time to kill and time to death, ladies and gentlemen. TTK and TTD, a big talking point. I think a lot of people, you know, I think it varies based on what games you're used to. Whether you're based on, you know, mil-sim games like Arma, or fast-paced games like Call of Duty or Warzone, or, you know, games where you have extra armor like Overwatch and stuff like that, where it's a longer time to kill. I think it depends on what you're used to, but I like that they have, again, the community feedback, and they're actually listening as well to see what people are saying. So time to kill and time to death have been frequent topics. It really, really have. With your input, we've balanced damage across the weapon pool, and we're eager to hear your thoughts on how these changes feel during the beta. We've also leveled up our weapon customization options. We worked to enhance overall clarity to make the UI more user-friendly, so it's easier to see which weapons synergize best with each class. These improvements are designed to help you make more informed choices when building your loadout, ensuring that you can quickly understand the strengths and intended roles of different weapons. So again, going back to the TTK and time to death, I think it depends on what you're used to. I think it depends on what sort of experience you want. I think majority of people said with like an assault rifle or an LMG, it's like 4 shots, boom, 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 to get a kill. There is a sweet spot back for the recon, for the sniping class that I've seen people use as well, where it was in Battlefield 1, where if you hit them in the upper torso in specific areas, like around the heart, for example, stuff like that, it will be a one-shot kill. So obviously headshots are one-shot kill, but there's also a sweet spot you can try to aim for as well. I don't like, you know, a super fast one-shot kill, like a hardcore time to kill. But what I've seen on the playtest from, you know, the Los Angeles playtest, I think the TTK looked good. I think the time, obviously, it's hard to talk about it without playing it. I don't want to make an informed decision because I've not played the, you know, the latest build. I played a Battlefield Labs build from a couple months ago, which might have been different. Even then, I really enjoyed the TTK. I wasn't moaning about, oh, it's taking too many bullets to kill him, or I'm dying too quickly, stuff like that. I was finding it was a really good mix between the two. So hopefully they can, you know, fine tune it even more. I like that they've leveled up the weapon customization options. Again, Battlefield 6 is going for something that Battlefield never really normally does in the past, which is you have 100 points to spend on your weapon customization, be it your barrel or your grip or your sight, whatever you want to put on, and they all have different value to them. So some are costing 10, some are costing 20, the upper ones may be costing 50, and then you can fine-tune and pick and alter what attachments you have. You can have up to like 8 or 9 attachments if they all cost cheap, you know, if they all cost 10, for example. And you can pump on a bunch of attachments to really, you know, overdo your gun if that's what you like. I will say one thing that I've seen from other people have said, and I agree with based on the gameplay I've seen. I think I think classes need to be more differential. Differential? I think that's a word. You need to know who the opponent is. You need to know based on just looking at them. Like in Battlefield 3, for example, when the medic was like a black guy, for example, and, you know, Battlefield friends always made jokes about it. If you saw a medic, you knew who it was. You was like, oh, that's a medic. If you saw an engineer, they had a different look to them. You go, oh, that's an engineer. And I know Recon have a bit of a ghillie suit going on in Battlefield 6, which again, if you see that, you go, okay, that's a Recon. I think, again, it's not like a game-breaking thing of like, you know, I can't play this game if I don't know who they are. But I think it's just that nice Battlefield feel of knowing, you know, what class someone's playing just by looking at them. I think is a really cool Battlefield thing that, you know, on Call of Duty or other games, you don't really have that. Whereas Battlefield, because the classes are the main thing, Assault Engineer, Recon Support, that's the main thing of Battlefield. You want to make them all differential. You want to make them stand out in their own way. Again, keeping it grounded, keeping it realistic, but just having different outfits for them, I think would make a massive difference of like instantly knowing, boom, he's playing Assault, he's playing Engineer. And it also made me connect to the players even more, to the characters even more. Without having heroes back in Battlefield 3, I connected to the people even more, like the Black Medic, and then you had the Engineer. You know, you had the specific looks for each class. It made you connect to each class even more, to each role even more, because you knew who everyone was being. I always used to play Assault. My friend used to play the Engineer, and another one used to play Support, and you can tell who each one is just based on how they look. To further differentiate the classes and provide unique weapon advantages, we've introduced signature weapons. Selecting a weapon that aligns with your class now grants exclusive advantages for that weapon that no other classes will benefit from. For example, no other class will be able to utilize a sniper rifle as effectively as a recon. This was something brought in 2042, I believe, where if you're being a recon, for example, you get a little boost on your sniper rifles. Assault class, you get a little boost on your assault rifles. I think it's cool that, you know, classes have a boost on specific weapons, but again, I don't think they should need a boost. I think it should just be that they're locked into that gun anyway, and they shouldn't be able to choose a different gun, which isn't as good as their signature weapon, if that makes sense. But again, in the open weapon playlist, I think it is cool that specific classes have boosts with specific guns. It's like in football, a striker should be better at shooting than a center back. A recon should be better with a sniper than an assault class. So I'm all for it. The road to launch. This excites me just because it makes me think of actually launching the game. Adapting and implementing feedback takes time, and while open beta will give you an early look at the class system, it's not the final adaptation. After the open beta is concluded, there will be more opportunities to shape the class experience together before launch through upcoming Battlefield Labs play sessions. So there's going to be more BF Labs play sessions between the open beta and launch, ladies and gentlemen, which I'm very excited about. Want to give you a glimpse of further changes you can expect beyond open beta as we head towards launch. So they've tweaked some of the classes already, and some of these things are really, really cool. So for the Assault class, while Assault has been recognized as a class for frontline medics and a favorite among lone wolf players, we're now placing greater emphasis on team play. With reworked traits and gadgets, Assault offers passive squad benefits that encourage teamwork and provide a stronger support for the squad. The Adrenaline Injector. Now, off the bat, I'll be honest, I hate games with stims. I hate games where you inject yourself and all of a sudden, oh, I can run extra fast. And I hate stims personally. It's just a personal thing, but I understand why it's a thing for the assault class. Again, it's just I've never been a fan of stims in general. It's like a very Call of Duty based thing of like, oh, I'm on 1 HP, let me quickly stim and get another 5 kill streak. Very good. I just don't like them very much, but again, that's just me. Initially offering a self-healing effect, now clears and boosts resistance to flash and stun effects, enhances tolerance to explosive and incendiary damage, and improves movement speed. We feel that this will reduce their self-sustaining perks and differentiate them further from the support class. See, again, so if you stim yourself, it clears and boosts resistance to flash and stun effects, enhances tolerance to explosive and incendiary, and improves movement speed. I think it's just so good. It's like you're jacked up on juice. Again, I understand it, but it's just not really a thing for me. I might use it, but it's just not really a mechanic I like in FPS games, really. Commanding Presence has replaced Enhanced Mobility as the new signature trait. This trait speeds up capturing objectives for nearby squad members and takes you or your team out of combat status faster. With this new ability, we're taking another step to provide the Assault class with more team-focused ability. See, I like this because the Assault class has never really been a team-based class as much as the others. You know, the Assault support class gives ammo and now gives you know, health as well these days. It used to be the medic class, now it's the support class, which I like. I didn't used to like. I like that now that the support class does both. It's support for a reason. So the assault class never really used to be a team-based thing, but now it's very cool because the assault class, you want to be on the front lines, you want to be assaulting, you want to be running into the flags, and I think this is really cool. This trait speeds up capturing objectives for nearby squad members. That makes you want to be with your squad. The main thing about Battlefield, you want to, you know, fight with your squad. If you have a perk where, you know, if I'm with a squad of 4, I can make all of us capture an objective faster. I think that's absolutely, that's genius. That's incredible. And it also takes you out of combat faster. You and your team out of combat faster, so you can get those squad spawns off. Bish, bash, bosh. This is amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing. As is the next thing. We're also making a substantial change to the gadget pool. We've renamed the squad beacon, spawn beacon to deploy beacon, and it's now part of the assault class instead of recon. I think this is base. I think this is absolutely amazing. I've never liked a spawn beacon being for the recon class. I've never been a fan of a spawn beacon. I think it's stupid. All it is for snipers to get up top on a roof, plonk a spawn beacon down, so if they get sniped, they can spawn back up there and try to snipe back. I've never liked it. Whereas being on the assault class as a deploy beacon, the assault class, like I said, they're the front runners. They're the ones getting down and gritty. They're the ones attacking the flags and you know, the rush objective, stuff like that. You can get around. You can get into a flank situation, plonk down a deploy beacon, get all your squad to spawn on you. Absolutely genius move, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. This is absolutely amazing. Although the deploy beacon has traditionally been a staple of the recon class, it hasn't been without its challenges, often being used exactly what I said, a solo snipe. Exactly. We're intentionally redefining it as a team play tool for the frontline flanking and coordinated squad movement. Again, I think it's amazing. The deploy beacon has a finite number of uses per squad and will self-destruct if the assault player spawns back on it. So, if you plonk it down, you die, and you spawn back on it, it will self-destruct. So, it's a one-time deal for you, and then it has a finite number of uses per squad, which again I think it's cool. Making it a tactical, it's like a tactical tactical insurgent from Call of Duty. Is that what it used to be called? I've not played Call of Duty in so long. Making it a tactical unlimited resource rather than a persistent advantage. We believe this addresses concerns around assault being too focused on solo play. I think it's amazing. Well done, whoever wrote this and made this decision. I think it's amazing. A completely new gadget is being introduced, the assault ladder. Now I've seen clips of this. We've seen clips of this in the trailer. We've not seen it yet in a gameplay situation because it wasn't in the BF Labs or in the gameplay that we've seen so far. This versatile tool provides squads with access to previously unreachable areas, functioning as either a ladder or ramp depending on deployment angle. As a powerful team play gadget, it enables assault players to lead not just their squad, but their entire team over obstacles, gain height advantages, or surprise the enemy in new ways. Again, we've only seen this in trailers, so we don't know how this is going to be implemented in the actual game. It looks very cool. It looks like a very Siege type thing, as does the sledgehammer we've seen. A very Rainbow Six Siege type thing of implementing new ways and new areas that you can explore. Now, I don't know how, you know, the limit on it, the length on it. I don't think it will be used to get exploited areas into Battlefield, like, you know, out of maps and stuff like that. It's not going to be a super long ladder, but to climb buildings, to flank and then climb from a you know, unreachable window where no one's looking up because they don't think they can get behind you. I think this could be very, very cool for the assault class. And again, I think the assault class, which has always been my favorite class, the medic or assault class, I think giving them more things to help the team is absolutely fantastic. So again, so far, these changes for assault class, I think they're all absolutely amazing. Engineer, we're pleased to hear balanced feedback on the engineer class, especially in terms of their core role in vehicle gameplay and explosives. We're eager to learn more about how well the engineering gadget pool supports and destroys vehicles and how effective engineers feel in direct combat. We'll be closely monitoring their toolkit's performance in large-scale battles, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts on whether you're playing as the engineer feels impactful and rewarding. So not many changes for the engineer. They feel pretty happy with it. So far, I think engineer's pretty easy, though. You know, give them an RPG, give them an anti-air missile, give them a repair tool, and let them go bloody ham. Support class, we've seen generally positive feedback around support, and we're actively evaluating a few key areas for improvement. We're focusing on the refresh rate of the supply crates and how well the support's signature weapon buffs contribute to the flow of the game. We want to ensure that support players feel essential to their squads, both in keeping teammates supplied and in boosting overall combat efficiency. Again, not much for the support class, but that's good that they're feeling pretty comfortable with it. And then lastly for Recon, we saw the opportunity to strengthen on the disinformation and sabotage component of its role. With that in mind, we set out to redefine one of the Recon's training paths by removing Pathfinder and replacing it with Spec Ops, a nod to the stealthy, explosive focus class last seen in Battlefield 2. I think Spec Ops sounds cool. This buff for anyone who wants to take on stealth function of their squad, providing them with insight on troop movement while quietly operating behind enemy lines. So Spec Ops 0, your base class training, available from the start and allows quiet takedowns, crouch and prone movement. Spec Ops 1 spots nearby enemy gadgets except when sprinting. And Spec Ops 2, going prone, it takes you out of combat much faster and removes the spot on self. I think this is awesome, making the Recon, because I used to play on Zavod 311, 311, or whatever it's, I think it was 311. I used to play on Zavod with my friend back on the old Battlefield games, and we used to go, we used to call it DayZ Battlefield. We used to get a sniper in the Recon class. We used to go in the flank, or, you know, there was all these trees on the right-hand side, depending on what you're looking, obviously, right and left, I guess. But there was all these trees around the outside of Zavod map, and there was a dark version of the map too, nighttime version. We used to go around the trees, sniping people, only using snipers and pistols, and we absolutely loved it. We had so much fun. The Recon class should be a stealth-based class. Recon shouldn't be in the front lines running quick-scoping. Recon should be up in the mountains, up in the cranes, up in the buildings, picking people off, helping your assault class get to the objective better. And having a Spec Ops trait, I think, is absolutely amazing. In addition, the Recon class features an active ability at level 3 that lets you call in a UAV to a marked position for passive spotting. Again, I think that's amazing. Aim spotting, which automatically spots enemies while you're aiming down sights. Oh, so the Recon signature trait, aim spotting, which I think is amazing. It automatically spots enemies while you're aiming down the sights. I think that's fantastic. I really do. These improvements for the classes sound incredible. They sound very positive. I'm excited to hear more about the engineering support based on the open beta. Then it just says, what's next? Open beta is your chance to jump in, share your feedback, and help shape the future of Battlefield 6, ladies and gentlemen. There's more posts that you can read on as well. They have the specs, they have the early exclusive rewards that you can get. Again, even the rewards, they look very grounded and stuff like that, which I love. The timing for the open beta, ladies and gentlemen, Battlefield 6 is around the corner. The early access starts in 2 days. I'm going to be recording and streaming on this channel so much. I want to record so much, so even after both of the open betas, I'm still going to be uploading Battlefield 6 content on this channel between the open beta and the full launch. That's how much I'm going to record every single game. Some are going to be post-com, some are going to be live, some are going to be live streamed, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. I want Battlefield 6 to be very big on this channel. I've always loved Battlefield. I've always wanted Battlefield to be big, and now we have RegentsPlays exactly for that. So I hope to see you in the open beta. Let me know what you're excited for, and I'll catch you in the next one. Much of as always, take care and happy gaming.